Welcome to the Deep Sleep channel. Tonight, we're descending beneath the ocean surface. We're traveling to places where sunlight still reaches the water. We're visiting ecosystems so diverse, so beautiful, so complex that they rival the rainforests of the land. We're exploring coral reefs. These are among the most remarkable places on Earth. They are cities of life. They are gardens of extraordinary beauty. They are ecosystems that support thousands of species. They are some of the oldest structures created by living creatures. Coral reefs are often called the rainforests of the sea. Like rainforests, they contain incredible biodiversity. Like rainforests, they are under threat. Like rainforests, they are essential to the health of the planet. But coral reefs are also unique. They are built by tiny creatures. They grow slowly, sometimes taking thousands of years to build structures that are meters tall. They are delicate and fragile despite their apparent solidity. They are dependent on a precise balance of conditions. Close your eyes. Let yourself sink beneath the waves. Let yourself float above a coral reef. Let yourself see the colors, the life, the beauty. Let yourself understand the incredible complexity of these underwater worlds. Let yourself drift into sleep contemplating one of Earth's greatest wonders. This is a meditation on beauty, biodiversity, fragility, and the interconnectedness of life. Coral reefs exist in warm, shallow waters around the world. The largest concentration of coral reefs is in Southeast Asia, in an area called the Coral Triangle. But coral reefs are found in the Caribbean, the Red Sea, the Pacific Ocean, and other tropical waters. The Great Barrier Reef is the largest coral reef system in the world. It stretches for over 2,300 kilometers along the coast of Australia. It is so large that it can be seen from space. It is one of the wonders of the natural world. But what is a coral reef? How is it made? What lives there? A coral reef is built by coral polyps. These are tiny creatures, often just a few millimeters long. Coral polyps are related to sea anemones. They have a mouth surrounded by tentacles. They eat tiny organisms called zooplankton. But what makes coral polyps special is that they build skeletons. The coral polyp builds a skeleton made of calcium carbonate, the same material that makes up seashells and limestone. The skeleton is external, outside the soft body of the polyp. As the coral polyp grows, it builds more and more skeleton. When the polyp dies, the skeleton remains. New polyps grow on top of the dead skeleton. Over time, thousands of individual skeletons build up to form larger and larger structures. Over thousands of years, these structures can become massive. Coral heads that are meters tall. Coral formations that stretch for kilometers, all built by tiny creatures, one skeleton at a time. The process is slow. A coral reef might grow only 1 centimeter per year. A large coral head might be hundreds of years old. The largest coral reefs are thousands of years old. Coral reefs come in different types. Fringing reefs grow along the coast of islands or continents. Barrier reefs are separated from the coast by a deep channel of water. Atoll reefs are ring-shaped, forming a circle around a lagoon. Each type of reef develops in different ways and creates different environments. But all coral reefs share common characteristics. They all depend on sunlight. They all depend on warm water. They all depend on the coral-zooxanthellae relationship. Zooxanthellae are microscopic algae that live inside the coral polyp's cells. The zooxanthellae photosynthesize. They use sunlight to produce energy. This energy is shared with the coral polyp. The coral polyp provides the zooxanthellae with protection and the nutrients they need. It is a symbiotic relationship. Both partners benefit. This relationship is why coral reefs depend on sunlight. The zooxanthellae need light to photosynthesize. Without sunlight, the zooxanthellae cannot produce energy. Without the zooxanthellae, the coral polyps cannot grow. The entire reef depends on this relationship. This is also why coral reefs are only found in shallow, warm water. The water needs to be warm because coral polyps are cold sensitive. If the water gets too cold, the coral becomes stressed. The zooxanthellae die. The coral turns white. This is called coral bleaching. If the water warms back up quickly, the coral might recover. But if it stays cold, the coral will die. A healthy coral reef is one of the most biodiverse ecosystems on Earth. A single coral reef might contain thousands of species, fish of every color and shape, crustaceans hiding in crevices, mollusks of extraordinary beauty, sponges, sea stars, sea urchins, worms, nudibranchs, seahorses, and of course, the corals themselves, in hundreds of different species. The fish are the most visible inhabitants of the reef. Fish of every size and color imaginable, brilliant blues and yellows and oranges, stripes and spots and patterns that seem impossible to describe. Some fish are tiny, just a few centimeters. Some are large, over 1 meter long. Each species of fish has its role in the reef. Some eat algae, some eat other fish, some eat coral polyps, some eat zooplankton. The herbivorous fish are particularly important. By eating algae, they prevent the algae from overgrowing the coral. The clownfish lives in a special relationship with a host anemone. The clownfish is protected from predators by the anemone's stinging cells, which don't harm the clownfish. In return, the clownfish defends the anemone from predators and removes parasites. The parrotfish is another important inhabitant of the reef. The parrotfish eats coral. As it eats coral, it grinds the calcium carbonate skeleton. The parrotfish produces sand. The white sand beaches of tropical islands are often made from parrotfish poop. The grouper is a large predatory fish. It hides among the coral, waiting for smaller fish to pass. When a smaller fish comes near, the grouper strikes with lightning speed. The sea turtle comes to the reef to eat. It grazes on seagrass in shallow waters near reefs. It eats jellyfish and other soft-bodied creatures. Some sea turtles are endangered. Coral reefs are crucial habitat for these ancient creatures. The shark patrols the reef. The shark is the apex predator. It hunts fish and other creatures. Without the shark, the reef ecosystem would become unbalanced. Prey fish would overrun the reef. The invertebrates of the reef are equally diverse and fascinating. The sea star is a common resident. Some sea stars are predators. Some eat coral, some eat algae. The sea star has arms that can regenerate if lost. The sea urchin is another common inhabitant. Sea urchins are covered with spines that protect them from predators. Some sea urchins eat algae, some eat coral, some eat seagrass. The octopus is an intelligent predator. The octopus can change color to blend with its surroundings. It can squeeze through small openings. It hunts crabs and small fish. The nudibranch is a small, slow-moving mollusk. But nudibranches are among the most beautiful creatures in the ocean. They come in brilliant colors and extraordinary shapes. Some nudibranches are venomous. Some feed on anemones and steal their venom for their own defense. The sponge is a simple creature, but it plays an important role in the reef. Sponges filter water. They eat tiny particles and microorganisms. By filtering water, sponges keep the water clean. They also provide shelter for small creatures. The sea cucumber is an elongated creature that lives on the reef bottom. It eats organic matter and sediment. As it eats, it churns up the sediment, mixing it and releasing nutrients. The shrimp is a small crustacean that plays an important role. Some shrimp clean fish, eating parasites and dead skin, from larger fish. The larger fish benefit by having parasites removed. The smaller fish and shrimp benefit by having a source of food. Some corals have special relationships with certain fish. The fish might defend the coral from predators. The coral might provide shelter for the fish. These relationships are mutualistic. Both partners benefit. The reef is a system in balance. If one species is removed, the effects ripple through the entire system. If the herbivorous fish disappear, algae overgrows the coral. If the coral dies, the fish lose habitat. If the fish disappear, the coral loses partners that help keep it clean. Coral reefs face many threats. Climate change is the most serious threat. Rising ocean temperatures cause coral bleaching. When water gets too warm, the zooxanthellae die. The coral turns white. If the water doesn't cool quickly, the coral dies. Coral bleaching has become more frequent and more severe. In 1998, a global bleaching event killed about 16% of the world's coral reefs. In 2010, another bleaching event occurred. In 2016, a major bleaching event killed coral in the Great Barrier Reef and other reefs around the world. Ocean acidification is another threat. The ocean absorbs carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. This makes the ocean more acidic. More acidic water makes it harder for coral to build its skeleton. If ocean acidification continues, coral will struggle to grow. Pollution is another threat. Runoff from land carries sediment and nutrients into the reef. The sediment covers the coral. The nutrients cause algae blooms. Algae overgrows the coral. Overfishing is another threat. When fish are removed from the reef, the ecosystem becomes unbalanced. Without herbivorous fish, algae overgrows the coral. Without predatory fish, prey fish become too numerous. Physical damage is another threat. Boat anchors damage coral. Careless swimmers trample coral. Coastal development destroys reefs. Disease is another threat. Coral diseases have become more common. A disease called white band disease kills coral. Another disease causes coral to turn yellow. Some reefs have been recovering. When fishing is banned, fish populations recover. When pollution is reduced, reefs become healthier. Some corals have shown resilience to climate change. But overall, coral reefs are in decline. About 50% of the world's coral reefs have been lost. If current trends continue, many more reefs will be lost. Coral reefs are important for many reasons. They support incredible biodiversity. About 1/4 of all marine fish species live on coral reefs, even though reefs cover only 0.1% of the ocean floor. Coral reefs protect coastlines. The reef structure breaks waves. This reduces wave energy. This protects the coast from erosion and storms. Coral reefs are important for human food security. Millions of people depend on coral reefs for food. The fish that live on reefs are an important source of protein. Coral reefs are important for the economy. Tourism associated with coral reefs generates billions of dollars annually. People come from around the world to visit reefs, to snorkel, to dive. Coral reefs have cultural importance. For many indigenous peoples, reefs are sacred. Reefs are part of their identity and their way of life. Coral reefs support medical research. Compounds from reef organisms are being used to develop medicines. Some promising cancer drugs come from coral reef organisms. We contemplate the complexity of coral reefs. The reef is a system with thousands of species, each with its role. Remove one species and the system is affected. Remove several species and the system begins to fail. This complexity is both a strength and a weakness. The complexity means the reef is resilient. If one species is lost, others can fill the role. The reef has redundancy. But the complexity also means the reef is fragile. The system depends on specific conditions. The water must be the right temperature. The water must have the right pH. The water must have the right nutrients. The water must have the right light. If any of these conditions change too much, the system fails. Species that depend on specific conditions will disappear. Other species that depend on those species will also disappear. The reef will collapse. We contemplate the ancient nature of coral reefs. Some coral reefs are thousands of years old. The corals growing today are descendants of corals that have been building the reef for millennia. The Great Barrier Reef is about 20,000 years old. It has survived climate changes. It has survived storms. It has survived fluctuations in sea level. But the reefs have never had to adapt to changes as rapid as those happening now. The climate is changing faster than at any time in recent history. Ocean temperatures are rising. Ocean acidification is increasing. These changes are happening on a timescale of decades, not centuries or millennia. The reefs are struggling to adapt. Some corals are showing signs of resilience. Some populations are adapting to warmer water. But many reefs are dying. We contemplate what the loss of coral reefs would mean. If coral reefs disappeared, over 1 million species would lose their habitat. Many of these species would go extinct. The fish that people depend on for food would disappear. Millions of people would lose their primary source of protein. The coastlines of tropical regions would be more vulnerable to storms and erosion. Without the reef to break the waves, tropical islands would be more exposed to damage. The beauty of the ocean would be diminished. One of the most beautiful ecosystems on Earth would be gone. The medical potential of reef organisms would be lost. Possible cures for diseases would be left undiscovered. The cultural heritage of indigenous peoples would be destroyed. Their connection to the reefs would be severed. We contemplate what we can do to protect coral reefs. Reducing greenhouse gas emissions is the most important action. By reducing emissions, we can slow climate change. By slowing climate change, we can give reefs more time to adapt. Reducing pollution is important. By controlling runoff from land, we can reduce sediment and nutrient pollution. By treating sewage properly, we can prevent pollution. Protecting reefs from overfishing is important. By establishing marine protected areas where fishing is banned, we can allow fish populations to recover. By managing fisheries sustainably, we can ensure that reefs have healthy fish populations. Reducing physical damage is important. By keeping boats away from reefs, we can prevent damage from anchors. By teaching people to be careful when snorkeling or diving, We can prevent damage from careless swimmers. Reducing pollution from agriculture and industry is important. By using farming practices that don't pollute runoff, we can protect reefs from sediment and nutrient pollution. Supporting research is important. By funding research into coral resilience and adaptation, we can learn more about how to protect reefs. Supporting local communities is important. By supporting the people who live near reefs, we can ensure that they have incentives to protect reefs rather than destroy them. We contemplate the wonder of coral reefs. Despite the threats, despite the challenges, coral reefs remain places of extraordinary beauty and diversity. Snorkeling on a coral reef is an experience that changes people. People who visit reefs often become advocates for reef protection. They have seen the beauty with their own eyes. They understand what is at stake. Diving on a coral reef is a deeper experience. Divers can spend more time on the reef. They can see creatures that are hidden from snorkelers. They can experience the reef in all its complexity. But you don't have to visit a reef to appreciate its beauty. Photographs and films bring the reef into our homes. We can see the colors, the creatures, the complexity without traveling. We contemplate the future of coral reefs. The prognosis is not good. If climate change continues at current rates, many reefs will be dead within decades. But there is hope. Some reefs are more resilient than others. Some populations of coral are adapting to warmer water. Some people are working to protect reefs. If we reduce greenhouse gas emissions significantly, we might be able to save many reefs. If we reduce pollution and overfishing, we might be able to help reefs recover. The future of coral reefs depends on choices we make now. If we choose to protect reefs, we can. If we choose not to, they will disappear. As we drift into sleep contemplating coral reefs, we contemplate several profound truths. First, that the world contains ecosystems of extraordinary beauty and complexity. Coral reefs are one example, but there are others. Rainforests, savannas, deserts, mountains. Each ecosystem is unique. Each ecosystem is precious. Second, that all life is interconnected. In a coral reef, thousands of species depend on each other. Remove one species, and the whole system is affected. This is true of all ecosystems. It is true of the entire planet. Third, that human actions have consequences. The choices we make about energy, agriculture, and consumption affect ecosystems around the world. When we burn fossil fuels, we warm the climate and damage coral reefs. Fourth, that we have the power to protect what is precious. If we choose to reduce emissions, we can protect reefs. If we choose to reduce pollution, we can protect reefs. If we choose to manage fisheries sustainably, we can protect reefs. Fifth, that there is beauty in the world worth protecting. Coral reefs are beautiful. They are worth our effort to protect them. Sleep knowing that coral reefs exist, that they are beautiful, that they are in danger, that you have the power to help protect them. Sleep knowing that the ocean is full of wonders, that life is diverse and interconnected, that our choices matter. Sleep peacefully, knowing that even in the face of challenges, humans are working to protect what is precious. Scientists are studying reefs. Conservationists are fighting to protect them. Communities are managing reefs sustainably. Sleep knowing that the future is not determined. We can choose to protect coral reefs. We can choose to slow climate change. We can choose to reduce pollution. We can choose a future where coral reefs survive and thrive. Sleep knowing that you are part of a global community working to protect our planet. Your choices matter. Your voice matters. Your actions matter. Good night from the Deep Sleep Channel. Sleep well and dream of coral reefs teeming with life, of waters clear and warm, of beauty beyond measure.